Real show, here we go. Real show, here we go. You know that it's gotta be that time, so this is what we chant. What keeps on getting them all amped in advance? Come on. You and I rocking out with Iron Man, F.E. You get the general's point of view on top of Roger's rants. We're never tapping out, we're putting the most minutes in. You already know what that's about, you know that winners win. Crush whatever's on task, check the podcast. It's the champ and the tramp, let the bomb blast.
What's up, everybody? Got my man Jared Gordon. Jared, I've known Jared for over 10 years now. Probably he's originally a Queens dude. Obviously, we used to train together. He was with Henzo, and now he's in Florida with Sanford, or what do you guys call it? Cliff Kill now? Cliff.
Kill Cliff.
Kill Cliff. Yeah. So
change
hey,
names every 2 months. We
change the name.
Change our gym name.
Turn him up a little bit.
Yeah, whoever's paying the most money gets the name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
yeah, Gordon, obviously, you just had that fight with old Patty Boy, and I just watched it, bro. That's kind of crazy how that went down, man. I know you've been talking about it a bunch, but I've been on the end of some bad decisions, but I know it sucks. But how you feeling right now about it?
Man, pretty salty, pretty bitter about it. But you know how the game is, man. It's a ruthless game. I thought I did enough. I mean, most people thought I won all 3 rounds. I guess I didn't do enough. I was being scrutinized for that last round kind of being lackluster, but that's the only round that 2 of the judges gave me.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Makes no sense.
the first round was my most definitive round, I thought.
Yeah,
and
I thought so.
they didn't see it that way. But what am I going to do, man? I think also that the way it went down and how, people were calling it a robbery has put more eyes on me, getting a lot of attention because of it. So I'm yet to see the silver lining in it all. And that's what I'm thinking that's going to set me up for something decent down the line, like a big fight, decent name on a decent card. There's, how this is, man. It's just stay down or get up and keep going, right? And that's my only option. So, and that's all I've ever done, and that's what I'll do. And but it sucks, bro. It sucks so much. Like how any judge, I can understand not giving me all 3 rounds, but at least I won at least 2 out of the 3. People were scoring at 30-27 for me, so.
Yeah, no, I think even on the broadcast, like people that were tweeting in were all like, you're up 2-0. And that 3rd round, I mean, it was uneventful, but you had him pinned against the cage the whole time. I mean, if Octagon Control is the only metric to measure it, you were dominating that,
Yeah,
you finished the first round with a takedown too. That left hook was landing like crazy. Do you guys know that? Was that something you guys worked on? Like you just, or is that something you just go to naturally?
He throws and his hands don't really come back to his face,
Right.
So I knew if I just threw something out there that it would land. But yeah, we were working on the left hook a lot. And every time he came in and threw a combo, all I did was throw it out there and it landed every time. I wish I had put more of a stamp on it and followed up with a couple more shots, but the pass is the pass. What are you doing? My dog is but that's all I can do, man. I did what I did, and I won. The only 3 people that matter, though, didn't have it for me, unfortunately. The judges, and they're being one of them is being investigated.
Yeah.
Because he had just come from a fight, at Bellator the night before.
Right, which I heard didn't he host someone in that fight too?
Say it again.
Didn't he screw some other fighter or some other scorecard?
Yeah, it was a Bellator championship fight. He gave that Crosby guy gave one guy 50-45, which was impossible.
Yeah.
Wow.
Clearly, the other guy won at least 2 rounds.
Yeah.
So, and then he flew from wherever he was to Vegas and scored me and the main event the way he did. And he screwed the main event guys too. And now he's being investigated by Mohegan Sun. Vegas isn't doing anything about it, so it's not going to help me. But at least it will shed some light on the situation. And, but, you know, man, this is how my life has always been.
Yeah, hey.
Get the shit under the stick and just keep trucking, man. And I mean, I'm here. I'm doing pretty well. So, you know, I have everything I need. I can afford everything I want. So life it's been a lot harder before. So where I'm at right now, it ain't that bad. It still sucks though.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's supposed to suck, supposed to sting. You know, you went in there, you put a camp in together, you put a great performance. Of course, you think you're going to get the win, and when they kind of pull the curtain back and you see it's a bunch of bullshit, that's tough to deal with. But, I mean, like you said, you are getting a lot of attention because of it, and
right. I'm
sure there is going to be, like I said, I lost 2 fights to Benson Henderson that I thought I won. A lot of people thought I won. Then I lost a third fight to Aldo that super close. I thought I won too. And like, dude, I know you feel like, damn, come on, man, can I catch a damn break? But you stay the course, man. You know, I thought it was a great performance. Like you said, you got a lot of tension of it. Maybe get a rematch with this guy. I have a feeling he's probably not gonna want to fight again. But yeah, man, you're on your way, dude.
I feel like in the you know the grand scheme of things and everything you've been through in your life and all the things you've survived and been through and overcome, this is just a little blip in the road for you, Jared. You know what I mean? And again, you talk about silver linings. I mean, your name is on a lot of people's radar that it probably wasn't before. It certainly didn't hurt your stock at all, you know, this fight at all. So,
yeah, my stock definitely rose. But yeah, this is a first world problem, you know?
Yeah. Right.
So like, I'm grateful, but you know, the fighter in me, the competitor in me, you know, all we want to do is win, and the name of the game is winning, man.
Right.
You know, luckily, like money isn't really an issue. So, you know, I mean, it would have been nice to get the other half of my check, but you know, I'm not fighting for a paycheck. So,
can you speak to that a little bit? Because Dana White did say, you know, something to the effect of, "I'll take care of you," and I would assume, and I think most people would assume that would be in a monetary fashion. You get paid to show win, right? Show win, you know, bonus to win.
Yeah.
Has anything, if I can be, you know, so bold as to ask, has anything transpired with that?
Yeah, well, I didn't get my win bonus.
Yeah.
But he did, you know, contact me the next day and was like, "Look, we got your back and we're supporting you," and you know, they
what does that mean exactly?
We're gonna treat it like you won. So, yeah. I mean, we'll see what that means, though. You know.
Right.
But leaving half that money on the table is definitely stings. That stings. You don't, you know, as a competitor, you're not thinking of money. You're thinking of winning because you know that's their goal towards the title. But then as you sit back later on, you're like, damn, my pockets just got hurt too, man. That's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that was the least of it for me. Like you said, you know, winning is what we want to do, and you know, moving up the ladder and whatever, you know, what's next for me. But I think if I were to have got the W, that they would have switched the narrative anyways. You know, the fans and the media. Right. Oh, you fought a guy that wasn't ready. You know, Patty sucks. They would have flipped it somehow. Where I was, so losing like this almost, I think it put more eyes on me, and you know, I think it's still going to set something big up for me down the road. And you know, my friend always says something to me. He says, what doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. So I just got to wait a little bit and see what comes down the line, you know, and hopefully it's something good. Chino, what are you doing? Sorry, my dog is out of control.
It's all good.
I think obviously, Jared, what makes the most sense is a rematch, but I also think that if that was the intent and the UFC was going to do that, they probably would have already showed some initiative in that aspect, and maybe even made an announcement by now. So
I don't think that's going to happen. I obviously called for the rematch. I put it online, and I haven't gotten a response from UFC or Patty. So I doubt they're going to give me the rematch, especially because the way the fight went, like, I think it shows that I'm clearly the better fighter. So, and they're looking for the next Conor, and I don't think they found it in Patty. He has one half of the character that they need, but Conor was going out there and laying dudes out left and right, and winning 2 titles, and I just don't think that Patty's at that level like Conor was when he was at 45 and 55. Right. But I'm hoping that I get someone that's more of a name, more of a challenge than Patty, someone that maybe was a top 15. I asked for Ferguson, Tony Ferguson. I think the fight makes sense, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get it. Hopefully.
How much does that bother the two of you? Because you're similar. Your characters are similar. You don't really trash talk. You don't shit talk. Frankie and I have obviously talked about it a lot. He said, by the time guys started doing this, he's like, it was too late for me. I can't change the guy I am. I'm going to look really stupid in the middle of my, but then the Conors come along. I guess it probably started with the Chael Sonnens, but I mean, could you ever be that guy, or is it just so far out of the scope? Because those guys, they do obviously talk them into fights. They become fan favorites, and
Yo, are you kidding me right now? Christina!
He wants to be part of the interview.
What kind of dog?
Come here. I'll show you. Come here. Get this dog. All right. He's a Malinois Corgi. So he's like got the energy of like a shepherd.
Yeah.
He's like a velociraptor, dude. He's just nonstop. But he's Corgi, so his body's super small, but he's got like a German shepherd head. He's out of control, man. He's
built like Frankie then.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but I mean, these guys that chirp a lot, that talk a lot, that have that, like I said, started with probably the Chael Sonnens, and then the Conors came around, and it seems like a lot of people want to emulate Conor. I know that's not who you are. Clearly, it's not who Frankie is. But how much does that bother you guys that those guys seem to talk themselves into fights, fights?
That's a sport, man, and yeah, I'm not gonna start trash talking. I've had people talk trash to me, and if you deserve to get something back, then I'm gonna give it to you. But yeah, I'm not gonna like go
manufacture
online
something, right?
Talk trash, and I don't think and Frankie, he didn't have to do that, man. He went in the cage and he won fights. He was a champion. He challenged for the featherweight belt multiple times, and I mean his fighting did the talking for him, and I've yet to reach the level that Frankie had reached, but I think my character, I'm always going to be true to myself, man. I'm not going to talk trash. Plus, like, some of the trash talk that these guys do, it's like, dude, you're not a gangster, you're not a killer, you're not extorting people and selling drugs. So quit acting like you're out here killing people in the streets. Right. But yeah, I mean, you talk trash to me, I'm gonna, so many people have said to me, I'm gonna knock you out, like on stage, weigh-ins. I'm gonna knock you out tomorrow. Yeah, and I give it back. Knock me out. And then I go and win. So it's like the trash talk is funny to me. But yeah, it's not me, man. And but good for those guys.
Yeah,
that's their character. That's what people want to see, especially the fans. It sells fights, I guess.
Right.
At a certain level, I think you got to be like a top guy for the trash talk to make sense and for you to sell a fight. Because like, if you're on the prelims, no one's buying pay-per-views for you if you're talking trash. But if you get to that point, like Conor, or I guess now that Patty's, they're probably going to stick him on all the pay-per-view cards they can. That didn't make sense. But, even in my fight with Patty, he wasn't talking trash to me. He was super nice. I mean, he was saying he was going to finish me in the first round, but, like, he wasn't, like, being malicious or trying to, like, really get under my skin.
You guys had a couple interactions, right?
Say that again?
You guys had a couple interactions, like the fight week and even before that, no?
Yeah, we had a couple interactions, and they were all, man, by the time the fight came, I was like, I don't want to fight this guy. He's super likable.
Yeah.
We were laughing backstage. I gave him like a box of cookies. Like it was a sponsorship. They were like, oh, give Patty the cookies. And he was like hugging me. He was like, thank you. The kid loves to eat. So by the time fight day came, I was like, I don't want to fight this kid. I want to be friends with him,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, those guys.
As a whole, he's good for the sport, right?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you see all the guys that talk trash, they're hugging after they fight.
Right.
So it's like, we're going to fight no matter what. And however it goes. And then the biggest trash talkers, man, they're hugging after. I think the only people that never hugged after was like maybe John Jones in DC or
that was real.
Conor and Khabib. But that was major rivalry. So it is what it is.
What was I gonna say? Shit. What the hell? We're just fucking.
Well, there is a big difference between you and Patty. Is that I heard you say, you're always going to stay in fight camp, stay fight ready. You're always going to because there's always the chance, right? There's an event. Excuse me, I can't even talk here. But there's the possibility that you could get picked for a short order fight. Patty's never going to do that. That dude blows up to like 200 pounds, right?
Yeah, that's what it seems, man. His face gets huge and his belly gets big. I've been in the gym all week already. I was 172.5 today, so I could literally take a fight on 5-day notice and make weight. I used to fight at 45. That was a little more of a struggle.
Wow.
But I'm at 55 now, so I could take a short notice fight. I'm always in the gym. I train year round, and I'm getting fat between camps. I've done it before, and it's like you're just training for your weight cut.
Right.
You can't focus on, being sharp and your skill set. And, when you just want to drill, like every workout has to be like an intense training session for you to make weight. And then all you're thinking about is, oh, I got to make weight. And it's just, you're not training to be a martial artist. You're training to just fight. And to make weight, and it's like it's not worth it. You feel like shit all camp, and it's just not worth it, man.
Hey, I kind of knew. I know I wasn't asked. What was the story? Patty was saying you guys grappled at Henzo's in the past. That's BS.
The first time that we ever had a physical interaction was Tuesday of fight week, and it was so obvious that like when I was like, Patty, we never rolled, and he was like, oh, like you could just tell.
He made it up.
And it went nowhere,
Yeah.
And we've been talking about fighting for like over a year. So you're only gonna bring this up now on fight week to try to like get under my skin or get me riled up. Like if I had rolled with you and tapped you 2 times and we were talking about fighting for a while, I would have brought that up.
Yeah, hell
the
yeah.
First chance I got. Like, dude, I already tapped you twice. You sure you want to fight me?
What happened to you last fight?
It didn't make any sense. I saw him one time at Henzo's, and I knew who he was. He knew who I was, and I walked into the basement. I'm walking to the locker room, and the mats are on the right, and we made eye contact, and he was sitting on the mat, and he looked at me, and he looked at the floor, and then that was literally I was there to spar that day. He was in the jiu-jitsu class, and that was literally the last time I saw him until fight week, that was in like 2017 or 18. So I haven't seen him for like 4 years.
To sell. It's just to sell the fight then. I guess.
Not even sell the fight. Just
get
in here head into everything too. Probably.
Yes, it was funny. I was like, dude, this kid is.
You do have a commonality with Patty that I have a lot of respect for. I think everybody does. Is that you're big proponents of mental health? Obviously, man. I mean, you had your struggles in your life. Patty, obviously, I believe it was his last fight. Had one of his really close friends that took his own life. So I think that's something that everybody can get behind. And how important to you is that to spread that awareness? And where does that come from? Your struggle, obviously.
I mean, that's like my bigger purpose, that's why I fight. And it's obviously I want to win. I got to make a living. I have to pay bills. So fighting and winning and climbing the ladder and getting to the next level, next contract is something that still means a lot to me, obviously. And but the more I win, the bigger platform I get, the more people I can help. Like my DMs right now on Instagram and Twitter, whatever, are full to the brim. I can't even begin. I need people to actually help me. I have a kid that actually helps me go through all my DMs. But yeah, it's huge thing for me. One of my best friends took his own life 2 years ago, December 16th, and he was the Jenner gambler, man, and he lost everything because of gambling, and he just couldn't find. He got himself in with some bad people. He couldn't find a way out, and he took his life, man. So, drug addiction, mental health. Where we're from, you guys are in Jersey, I'm from Queens. The amount of addicts, everyone is affected by addiction or alcoholism or some sort of mental health problem in one way or the other. And, sometimes I feel like I'm a broken record because I'm always preaching about addiction and stuff, but, people literally message me every day for years now about how'd you do it? Can you help me? Like, what kind of advice do you have? And, I work with a treatment center, and if they're looking for help and they want to go, I try to get them in there. But sometimes I'm just there I just talk to people. Just, hey, this is what I did. And, you can do this. I was shooting cocaine and heroin. Yeah. And, now I am where I'm at, and it's never too late. I've seen people get sober in their 50s, and
yeah.
So, but yeah, he stands for. I know I've heard some interviews with him where he has battled his own mental health issues. I think people around him, like some of his coaches or someone on his team, dealt with addiction or alcoholism, and it's no matter where you are in the world. Could be in Liverpool, or you can be in Queens or Florida or Russia, whatever. People are dealing with the same shit everywhere. So yeah, huge reason, biggest reason for why I fight, besides, making a living and wanting to be a competitor and just win fights for my own pride and ego.
Right.
But yeah,
similar story to Matt Brown. You guys share a similar story. Have you ever met Matt Brown?
Yeah, I met him a couple times. Yeah, they call him the Immortal, right? Because he overdosed a couple times or something. And I mean, he's a savage, man.
Yeah,
he goes in there, kill or be killed for him. And
yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that had struggles in our sport. I mean, every sport, and you see it all the time. People with these issues. I mean, look at these NFL players. They're killing themselves or killing their family members, and head trauma coupled with substance abuse is just like a recipe for a disaster.
Yeah.
Jared, do I understand it correctly that it all started with an injury and being prescribed pain meds? I mean, you're in a tough sport where you're gonna get injured. I mean, you just had an ankle injury. How does that work? Can you go near it if you're prescribed a pain med, or how do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? And is that something that you just have to stay away from?
I mean, we live in chronic pain as combat athletes. So my nagging injuries are just part of my everyday life, and I deal with them, with PT and ice or Aleve or Motrin and just working through the injuries and getting healthier. But I've had surgery twice in the last 7 years. I'll be sober 7 years on the 27th. But I had a nose surgery where they had to reconstruct the inside of my nose, and when I went into the ER, they gave me pain meds. To have surgery, they got to give you pain meds to go under the knife. And then when I came out, I told them straight up, like, look, I'm a recovering addict. Like, I can't take home a script of pills. So they gave me like one pill in the ER as I was in the recovery room. And then I went home and I just dealt with the pain. And then when I followed Charles Oliveira, he broke my orbital. I had to have a metal plate put in my face. That surgery sucked. Told him the same thing. Look, I'm a recovering addict. So they gave me 4 pain pills that I came home with, and my wife gave them to me, held on to them, gave them to me as prescribed. And if you're getting pain meds or any medication for that matter from a doctor, and if you're taking them as prescribed, then it's not considered abuse. You're using it because I just had a metal plate put in my face.
Right,
so I was
right.
in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And I didn't abuse it, and then that was it. I finished, the 4 pills lasted 2 days, one in the morning, one at night, and then the same thing the next day. And that was it. Like, yeah, I was in pain after, and then after that it's just Tylenol and Motrin, and then that's it.
But that had to feel good that you were able to, you weren't looking for fucking some number to get some more shit after,
Yeah, I mean, as long as and I have a support system, people that are supporting me. They know my disease. They know I was an opiate addict. So like, I got a microscope on me in situations like that where people are like, all right, Jared's
means you're loved, man.
On the line. He's towing the line right now. Let's see which side he lands on. And so it's easy for me now. Back in the day before I had certain, guardrails up, it was so easy for me to just sneak away and, call fucking Flacco to meet me on the corner. But I don't want to go there anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know where it leads me. I don't just take a pill, I might do that at first, and then within a week I'm like, all right, let me go to the Bronx and score some dope, and the next thing you know, I'm missing for weeks on end. You know what I mean? So, and I just have no desire for that. So I know what comes with it, man.
Well, you seem like you really found a new focus in life, you know what I mean, and some new structure to keep you on that straight and narrow, man. So I think that says a lot about you as a human. But it seems to be a common story that injury often leads to addiction because you're prescribed meds, right? And when you're hurt, sometimes you need them for extended periods of time, to control the pain, and then you just can't ever seem to. I definitely know a number of people. I know you do, Frank. We have one really good friend that same thing. He came home from the war. He came home from overseas. I know a number of people actually. And they're prescribed meds. The VA gives them meds, and the next thing you know, just like you said, they're finding it on the street, and then they're scoring dope, and then they become a heroin junkie, and sometimes those stories don't end so well.
No, yeah, that's like the American story now, man. Oh, I got hooked on pain. My doctor gave me pain meds, and now I'm a heroin addict. And like it's such a harmless thing. Like now, people know now, but back. Earlier on, it was like, oh, I'm taking meds that a doctor gave me. So like, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Right.
But even after 2-3 weeks of taking like a weaker opiate, like you're like, oh, I kind of just want to keep doing these things. And then in your head, you're like, oh, I'm still in pain. When you're really not in pain, but you just don't want to live life without them anymore. And then you start learning about how other drugs are stronger and better, and you can get them on the street for cheaper. You don't have to see a doctor. And it's unfortunate, man, because it's, big pharma, the pharmacy industry, they've ruined like millions of lives probably.
Yeah.
So
I think everybody saw that.
It's a common thing, man.
Everybody saw that firsthand the last few years. But was there a pivotal moment for you where you said, or where did change come in where you said, like, I have to change my life or I'm going to die? I know I read that you overdosed 3 times. So was there an actual moment of clarity where you said, I have to choose being sober or I'm going to die? And can you speak to that? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, my first 2 overdoses, I just didn't care, man. And then like, you wake up from an overdose and you're like, oh, I'm dope sick. I got to get high. Yeah. And I was young. My first overdose, I was 22. Second overdose, I was about 24. But I got sober when I was 27. So I had years of, I was literally just beat up and defeated, man. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was I've been homeless. I've lived in homeless shelters, on the street, panhandling. It goes from, for me, it was like, all right, I got money. I'll support myself by selling drugs or doing illegal activity. And then like you come to the point where you're like, all right, I got nothing left. I got to start stealing. And then it gets to a point where you're like, shit, I'm homeless. I got a panhandle. And then from there, it's just trouble, because you're going to do something illegal eventually that's going to land you in jail, or you're going to get killed, or you're going to die. And for me, it was Christmas Eve, 2015. I had my last overdose. I was in a motel in Long Island City in Queens. And, I missed Thanksgiving. I wasn't around for Halloween. I was still living at home at my parents' house. Thanksgiving came. I was missing for that. Christmas came. I wasn't around for that. All that time in between, I was just like living on the streets, living in, staying with like drug dealers, because I would just buy drugs for them, or in like their trap houses, basically. I was couch surfing, and then it comes to a point where people are like, all right, you got to get out of my house. And then you're just on the street, and that shit sucks, bro. It's not warm during that time of year in New York.
Yeah, Queens is cold.
It's freezing.
This time of year, it's freezing, man.
It's freezing. You're on the street. Everything, there's nothing is, there's nowhere comfortable to sleep on the street in Queens, winter or summer. So, and, I was able to get some money together through some illegal activities, and I was like staying in motels, Christmas time. And then I was going nuts, man. I had a lot of drugs on me, and I was using, and I was in psychosis, and I just, I overdosed. I woke up in the hospital on the 26th, and I was sick as shit. And I was like, all right, I'm done with this. I actually ended up getting high one more time because I was so sick, but I went to detox that night, and they placed me, I went to a hospital in Queens. I did detox there, and they placed me in a psych ward in Queens on the Grand Central Expressway. And it was a stay-run facility, disgusting place. Wasn't my first stay-run facility I've been in. I've been in like 30-something facilities altogether, between jails, rehab, psych wards, crisis centers, therapeutic communities, homeless shelters, all sorts of shit, man. And it snowed like 5 feet one night. I was there. And I remember like the Christmas decorations were still up, and that holiday cheer was like still in the air, And I was staring out the window.
I remember that Christmas.
Because
I drove home from Long Island in that storm.
Dude.
Yeah.
It snowed like 4 or 5 feet that night. It was like one of the biggest storms in a long time.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
And I was staring out the window in the homeless shelter, or in the treatment center that I was in. And I'm watching the snow pile up, and I just closed my eyes, and I was like, man, I can't do this anymore. And, it was like 3 weeks from the last time I had used. So I was feeling better. I was warm. I had like a hoodie on, a pair of sweatpants. I didn't have to steal for food or for drugs. And I was 3 meals, 3 hots and a cot, they call it. I had a place to sleep, and I was a place to shower. And I'm like, this isn't that bad. And that's when I was like, all right, like I'm done with this. I can't do it anymore. And I still had fighting. I was 9-1 as a pro. And at first I would use fighting as like my reason. Like, all right, like I still got a career, something to hang on to. Let me like give this a go. So I just started taking suggestions from people that had gone through what I went through. I started talking to God. I had lost a lot of friends, getting killed or just overdosing. So I was using them as like my reason, like, all right, I'm going to do this for them, because I know they don't want me to go out the way they did. And, I came home, my parents let me come back home, and I just started going to like AA meetings, which I still do weekly. and I started doing what people told me to do. And I got back in the gym, and 6 months later, I had my first fight back. I fought for the CFFC featherweight title. I won by knockout, by head kick knockout. I fought a guy, Anthony Morrison, who was like a veteran at the time. He was around for a while. And that was it, man. I got the taste of victory in my mouth again. I was sober for 6 months. And then I fought one more time on short notice. I won the fight. Then I defended my belt against Bill Algeo, who's in the UFC now. And that was Dana White was there on the Dana White looking for a fight show, and that's the night. That was a little over a year later. So I've been sober for about a year. I just won 3 straight. I fought on the show. Dana gave me a contract that night. That was 2017, and here I am, man. It's been 7 years. Been in the UFC this whole time. I'm at like the biggest point of my career, I guess you can say, and it's been, a life beyond my wildest dreams, dude. Like, I own a house, the house that I'm in right now. I bought this house. I own everything. I have everything that I need, cars, all the stupid shit that we think we need that doesn't fucking fulfill you at all. All the shiny shit. And none of that shit makes me happy, man. Even fighting, even when I win a fight, I'm like, all right, now what? Like 3 days later, all that glory's gone. No one's talking about it anymore. You're like, yo, like, don't you remember I fought Saturday? And they're like, yeah, all right, now do it again, And then that's when I'm like, normally when I was using, I would have ran to drugs to fill that void,
Right.
That void that fighting gives me, that high, I would find it in drugs, but now I have other ways to fill that void, and life's been better than I could ever imagine,
It's good to have a happy ending, We don't really get many happy endings anymore. What you're doing with helping people, getting into treatment centers and whatnot is definitely noble. Like Roger said, and like you said, the East Coast there. I'm sure everywhere is like this, but I know I don't have enough fingers and toes to know how many people that lost the battle to drugs, and I mean that's the real pandemic, like they had the ticker up of fucking COVID deaths. They should have the ticker up of ODs, and then someone would hold this damn pharmaceutical companies accountable, because that's really what it comes down to, and that's awesome. You're doing this, and you're doing really well with fighting. I'm sure fighting definitely is a big part of why you're successful, though. All the lessons you learned, fighting, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. I mean, I'm sure you applied that to your battle against drugs, I would imagine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, martial arts in general, and, what fighting has done for me, it's given, shown me how to be disciplined and, how to work hard, and, the same shit that we learn in the cage or on the mats at the gym, you apply it to life, and it's the same thing, man. And I'm constantly learning more about myself. Every fight I have, every fight camp that I finish, every hurdle that I jump over. And yeah, I mean, it was a huge reason, at least at first, for me to like stay sober. But now, the thing that gives me the most fulfillment, and I know you guys can attest to this, is your family. Your wife, my wife. I don't have kids yet, but my parents.
Dog.
I got 2 brothers, and I got my friends, my closest friends, like. And then when I help people, it's just a priceless feeling that no amount of money or gold or cars I get or houses, like, it just doesn't. It's like buying a new pair of shoes. When you buy like a new pair of Air Force Ones or Jordans, you're like, yo, don't fucking step on my kicks. And then like 3 weeks later, you're like, yo, fuck these sneakers. I need a new pair of sneakers. It's like, that's what winning a fight is like for me. I'm like, I win a fight, I'm like, yeah, I'm the man. And then a week later, I'm like, oh, I got to get back in the gym. I got to get another, what's next? But when I help someone and they, they come to me like a year later, they're like, yo, I'm still sober. Like, if it wasn't for you, I'd be dead. And that, gives me more fulfillment than anything. And my wife trusts me. My parents trust me. People come to me and ask for help. I'm reliable and I follow through. And that's like, the the most priceless shit I can get. But yeah, I mean, martial arts has been obviously a huge part of my life, and I'll forever be indebted to martial arts. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves the Jared Gordon story. Anybody that reads about you or knows a little bit about your story, I mean, I think that's why you got a lot of fans. Nobody can't get behind your story and like you for it, that you came out so well. But the people that saw it firsthand or were the most involved had to be your parents. Your parents have to sleep well at night now. Your parents have to be your biggest fans, I would imagine. Did they come to your fights?
Yeah, they were at my last fight. They were at the fight before that. Sometimes, I fought in Brazil or Mexico. Like they didn't come down to some of those, but yeah,
they must have bought some new bedding and some new pillows when you got your life straight. They probably sleep so good now. I'm sure they were worried about their son for a lot of years there.
Man, my mom would tell me all the time. Every time the fucking phone rings,
Right.
I'm thinking it's the coroner or the hospital. Hey, we have your son here. My older brother too is in recovery. He was a heroin addict also.
Oh,
so
wow.
like, not only did they deal with me, they dealt with my brother, and they had, just like everyone else, a host of fucking problems in their lives. But yeah, man, my parents, those are my rocks. You know what I mean? It's great. They actually just bought a house in Florida. They moved down from Queens. They had enough of Queens.
Wow.
They grew up there, and they just bought a house here. They moved down on Sunday, so I'm going to get to celebrate Christmas with them. And my wife's family's here, and we're all from New York, but now we're down here, and my brother's here too. Both my brothers are here. I have a younger brother also, and it's like there's nothing better than that, man. Being able to, I miss so many holidays and birthday parties and events because I was running around like an idiot.
You got a second chance at life, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's been amazing, and I couldn't imagine that I'd be here now. And like, man, the reason I started fighting was because of Frankie. It was 2007. I told you this before, Frankie.
Yeah.
2007, you made your debut against Tyson Griffin, and I remember
you're the second person that said that same thing on the show. That's so awesome, man.
And I was watching. I'm like, bro. And dude, Tyson Griffin was humongous compared to you at that time. And I remember thinking, like, dude, I'm a little guy. Like, if he can do it, I can do it too. Yeah. And at the time, the Ultimate Fighter was blowing up. Tyson, Stephan Bonner, and Forrest Griffin, and I was like, I couldn't stop thinking about fighting, and that's when I joined the gym, and it just so happened to be Rhino Fight Team, which is in Queens when you were at the one in Jersey, right?
Yep.
And that was it. And anytime someone asks me, who's your favorite fighter? I'm like, Frankie, bro.
That's fucking awesome, bro. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's
crazy.
I know God has a big part, to do in your life, has a big part of your life. Dana White recently, I guess I saw it recently. I don't know if his statement was recently. I'm not shitting on Dana in any way. I like Dana. But he made a statement recently that God has no place in the octagon. No, nobody should be talking about God after they win a fight or anything. What's your take on that?
I mean, bro, it's someone's belief. It's someone's belief. Right. I mean, I think maybe the way he said it, people misconstrued like what he meant. I don't think he was saying like you shouldn't believe in God.
No, I didn't think that, but
yeah. But man, like, when you look at the best guys, they're always, I mean, Islam just beat Charles. The first thing he talked about was God. Beneil Dariush was on the same card. Mm-hmm. Like his whole post-fight speech was about God.
Right.
Always is.
And it's like, for me, I had nothing to turn to. My mom's Catholic Sicilian. My father's a Jew. And his parents are from London, and he's a Jew. So growing up, I celebrated fucking Hanukkah and Christmas. I was eating potato latkes one night, and I was eating brajol and pasta the next night. So, growing up, I was like, God, I went to Hebrew school, and then I was celebrating Easter. So I didn't know what God was. And like, I had nothing. My way of doing things led me to jails and homelessness and addiction. So it was suggested to me that hand my will over to a power greater than myself. And at first, like I said, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it for my dead friends, for all my dead homies. And then I realized, like, all right, there's something bigger than my dead friends out there. And like, I don't care who you are. You don't have to believe in Jesus or Allah, or if you don't think that there's something bigger out there that's controlling everything, that made this universe and earth, then, and like, you just think it just poof and appeared out of thin air, then like, I don't know what's going through your head. But for me, there's something obviously bigger, you know. And like, when I tell people, like, you got to like hand it over to something bigger than yourself, it could be anything, man, that you think is a bigger enough reason for you. Like, if you're an addict but you have a kid that needs you, your kid is a bigger reason for you to get your shit together, you know? Yeah, or if you got like a sick grandparent or a parent that needs you because they're handicapped, like, that's a bigger reason for you to work hard and get your shit together. Yeah. So for me, it happens to be God. I call him Jesus, you know, and but Dana, like, Dana's gonna Dana, you know. He's gonna say what he wants to say. Someone obviously had made, I think it was Yoel Romero, talking about Jesus in the cage after, maybe, and he was saying like, Jesus loves you, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and in fairness to Dana, it was a lead-in question, I'm sure, too. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he just shot from the hip and came out with that. But you know, just because you're such a godly man, I just thought I would ask you. And do you think anybody's ever beyond the pale of, like, you know, obviously God forgives if you ask, you know, for repentance, but I mean, there are guys like War Machine, for example. He turned to God after, you know, like, do you think there are some people that just do it to I guess get favoritism from skeptics, you know?
I mean, I think there's
War
more
Machine
skeptics.
was the first thought that popped in my head, because obviously he is you know, a very godly man now, but he's going to be in prison for the next 20 years. Yeah. War Machine, you know the story there, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, dude, like, if that's what's gonna make you move on and feel like it's gonna heal you, then more power to you. I mean, and
if it's real, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Nobody knows if it's real. Only God will know if it's in your heart, right?
I mean, so I mean, if that's what makes him feel better and he feels like, and good for him. I know he committed some pretty horrendous crimes. But man, a lot of people have, dude. And it's like, I believe that some people definitely deserve to go to hell. But that's God's decision, man. Right, you're going to go to the pearly gates and he's going to be like, sorry, bro.
Yeah.
You didn't cut it, man. He's going to hit that button. And hell doesn't seem that bad, though. Cocaine and strippers and...
Wait, I never heard the cocaine thing. There's cocaine down there?
I mean, dude, that's what the devil's den looks like. Then hey, maybe you know, some people might enjoy living in that eternity.
No, I still want to go see the man upstairs. And
well, I'm saying the whole fight and God thing. Like, obviously, I'm a godly person. I'm super blessed and thankful for all that. But I think, like, when you say, like, I always felt funny to ask God to have me win a fight. Like, you're asking me to hurt somebody, you know what I mean? I'd always try to, in my mind, like, just make sure no one gets hurt and let me fight to the best of my ability. Don't make anything about beating this guy, that guy. Because, like, you'll see dudes in the cage, like, oh, it wasn't me. Like, they'll spin kick someone in the face. Like, oh, it wasn't me, it was God. I don't think God spin kicked that dude in the face, bro.
No,
you know
no.
what I mean? Like,
I agree with you. I think that, you know, we still have our free will, you know? And we still... We still take our own actions. So no, I don't think God is like, yeah, I'm going to help you beat the shit out of this guy. Right. But I think that your win, if it's a bigger purpose and it's if whatever your win impacts and is for a positive, then it's for the better. Right.
Yeah.
I don't look at it like God's in there helping me throw my punches and kicks. You know, I think he's, you know, wants to bless people as long as the work that they're doing is like for the greater good of him.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But no, I've like, it is funny when someone like knocks someone unconscious and he's like, oh, it's God. Like,
it's
I don't know about that.
I did learn something from your fight, the massive amounts of criticism behind it that I never knew before, and I'm sure you guys have probably been well aware of forever, but Ron McCarthy is John McCarthy's son. I never knew that until your fight. I didn't know he was a judge.
Wait,
Yeah.
Ron McCarthy was one of the judges?
Yes.
Wow.
I didn't know. He's been a judge since 2013. I would have never known that had it not been for this fight and all the skepticism, behind the judging. But something clearly has to happen, and maybe your fight was the pinnacle that makes that happen. You say
bro,
now
ain't shit gonna happen. Let's
Well,
be real.
there's at
It's
least-
been going on for how long?
there's at least an investigation,
It's been going
right?
on for boxing forever,
Forever.
and and yeah, it's not. They're not gonna
Well,
do anything.
Ariel Hawani attributes it to
listen.
favoritism. Do you think it's
What?
they
Favoritism?
yeah, there's
Oh,
one
bad
he
judges?
says he believes his view is there's one judge in particular that tries to score favor with Dana, and he believes that he can judge fights based on
The one that they penalized for flying across country. That guy.
I don't know. I don't know who it was, but I mean, what else would it be? I mean, the only other option would be they're getting paid off, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
what else could it be?
You don't want to think that. You don't want to like. I
What
don't want
other
to think. I
option
don't
is
want to
there?
think the UFC is picking fighters to win. You don't want to think that, right? I mean,
No.
dude, that'd be pretty damn messed up.
I'm not
yeah, a lot of
saying
people
that.
have
I'm
asked me this, and I feel like, I gotta have faith in the system, man.
Yeah.
When you're fighting for the UFC, like you want to believe that they support you.
Right.
I do believe that judges get swayed.
Yeah,
By the
like
crowd.
specifically your fight, right? Like obviously the crowd for some reason everyone loves this guy, right? He talks funny, has a funny haircut. Everyone loves this guy, so they're supporting him. He's got fucking Barstool behind him in Portnoy, right? And like just same thing when I fought Benson Henderson. He was kind of an actor in there a little bit. In between the rounds, he'd be putting his hands up, doing this, or like you hit him with a good shot, he'd like tuck his hair back behind his ear, or you drop him, he would like act like he slipped, like stuff like that. Like I was never good at that. I never wanted to be. I wanted to just fight. That was my thing. I wanted to fight. I don't want to act like I'm a showman. I'm a fighter. I'm there to do the work, that I'm set out to do to win the fight. But sometimes you gotta kind of play these games. I think, when you're having judges look at it and the crowd gets involved. I think sometimes you have to do that. I don't like doing that, but it might be part of the game.
Yeah, and that's what John said. He was like, man, you got that one wrong, talking about his son.
right.
And then I think Ron came out and said, yeah, like I could have been swayed by the oohs and the ahs and
I read that. Yeah.
The cheering and all that, and it's like, bro, you're a fucking judge,
Right.
Yeah,
So what do they got to do?
You're
Wear
the
blinders?
second generation judge.
bro. And it's like 2013. You've been a judge since 2013. Like you're still letting things like this
influence. Yeah.
affect the way you score a fight. So, I mean, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
You know,
Frankie.
and the other guy,
One.
Crosby too. Yeah, he's like admitted that he goes off his own scoring criteria,
Right,
that he
right,
doesn't
right.
use
His own
the scoring
criteria.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, get these fucking guys out of here.
he's a checkered past too, right? Don't you got some beef with Ray Longo too?
Yeah, Ray Longo hates that guy, and
Yeah.
Alaquinta was like, I think Ray, or they made it a thing that like that guy can never judge any of
Sarah
his
Longo, right?
guys
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
fight.
Really?
So like,
What's that tell you? Just in and of
it
itself,
wasn't
you know?
me. That's what it tells me. It's you
Yeah.
idiots.
Yeah,
Only
yeah,
three
yeah.
morons.
Right.
You know, the famous saying is, don't let it go to the judges.
I
but
hate that. I
was
hate
just
that.
gonna say,
I'd smack
Frankie's
this guy. I'm gonna
Frankie's
smack
no,
this
no,
guy.
no, no. I was gonna give you props here, pal. That's the famous saying. I think Dana actually obviously said that, but Frankie said, "Well, then let the fucking fight go. Let the fight go till there's a winner." And that makes perfect sense. You got
I like
these
that.
3-round or even 5-round fights, and if there's no
Like, even
decisive,
still, like you can't, because then they'll be back to like fucking 45-minute fights, right? Which
Yeah.
would the people would hate that. It'd be boring. It's not made for TV. Like their good fights are gonna go. They're the best guys in the world, the best athletes in the world fight each other. It's gonna go to the scorecard. It's every once in a while, or maybe even frequently. They got to figure out a better way to do this.
yeah,
But it ain't gonna happen. That's what I think.
And it's not like, they're saying that my fight was like one of the worst robberies
no question.
ever. So, like, you know, I could see how some people, like some fights, people are like, oh, it could have went either way.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
But like, dude, most people had me 30-27 winning.
Yeah.
So it's like these judges are just blind or, you know, I know people don't like this word, or retarded.
Yeah.
You know?
Just
But
bad at the
Roger
job.
doesn't mind. Rogers, he just doesn't get offended.
I'm good with it. I'm good with it. That's a hate crime, what you just did right there, by the way.
Yeah. Dude, well, shit.
So Frankie, how's retirement, man?
I mean, I'm fucking sitting down with this guy, so it's not going too damn good.
Are you bored yet?
He's looking like Patty the Batty over there now, 200 pounds, fucking fat face.
No, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. Nah, man, I'm chilling. My neck was a little bit banged up, so I'm really not even training much. I'm kind of just getting healthy, but you know, we're figuring out what the next moves are.
Well, I'm sure whatever you do, man, you'll kill it.
Yeah, that's the plan.
What are you doing, Roger?
What am I doing, man? I'm doing the same thing. You know, the reality days are long behind me, man. So I'm also sitting down here with this guy. But by trade, I'm a union worker. So that's what I've done that for the last 24 years that I've lived in Jersey. That's my day
He's a
job.
union sex worker.
Yes,
Sex
absolutely.
worker. Oh, that
So,
sounds awesome.
yeah,
24 years of sex.
Teamsters, baby. So,
Where you live in Jersey too?
yeah, I'm 5 minutes down the road
Yeah,
from
he's right
Frankie.
in Tom's River, yeah.
I was over here last night doing the ice bath with this guy. That sucks. Do you do those? You do ice baths?
Yeah.
They suck.
Yeah, they suck, but
They're great for you, so
great
I'll do
after,
them, but
yeah.
they absolutely suck while you're doing it.
Do you work? What are you, an iron worker?
No, I drive hazmat tankers.
Okay.
Gasoline tankers, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Frankie?
I'm saying you're everyone, like, you know, your cardio. Everyone's talking about, Joe was talking about your cardio in the fight and this and that. And obviously, you're known for having a good tank. Anything you do in particular different than maybe the next guy? For your tank, to have that tank, you got a really good tank, right? And they were talking about it in this last fight. Rogan was specifically even DC. I'm saying, do you do anything, you know, maybe help Roger out here a little bit? He's fucking
fat.
His tank he hauls tanks and he's got like half a tank.
I used to run like an animal, but that shit beat my body up so much, dude.
I hate running.
My knees, my back. And, you know, when I was 23, I just train all day and run, train, run. And then, like, I was fine. And then when I hit, like, 28, I was like,
Yeah.
This shit is hurting.
Run and train. Frankie's had some trains run on him.
Yeah.
But, man, swimming, man. I've been swimming my ass off.
Yeah, swimming.
Oh, you're in Florida now. You can do it.
Yeah, it's so much easier. I was swimming, you know, I was outside swimming yesterday.
That's awesome.
But, man, you know, it's so much better on my body, dude.
Right.
Is there,
like, you know,
is
like
there,
when you,
sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, like, you know, when you finish like Frankie, I don't know about you, Roger, but if you finish like a 5 or 6 mile run and it was like a hard run, you know, after you're kind of shot, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'll swim for 45 minutes hard, and I have a swim coach, but, you know, I get done and I'm like, oh, like I'm fresh. Like it feels like it just opened me up and like loosened me up, you know, because there's not all that pounding.
Right.
But it's been a game changer for me, and it feels, you know, it's upper body also, obviously. So like, it feels like you're wrestling with the water.
Yeah.
And like, you're never gonna beat the water.
Right.
So swimming, man, swimming. But I also think, you know, like Frankie, you were blessed with the gas tank too, man. You always had a gas tank. So I think it's hereditary or something, or
No, I hate like Mark always be like, oh, it's natural. It's natural. You, Lagori or Corey, you guys, Caitlin, you guys all got great tanks. It's natural. I said, bro, it ain't natural. I've been training hard my whole life.
Well,
I've been building this tank. I'm sure you go hard. That's what it is. You go hard, right? If I grapple with you, we're gonna grapple hard. We spar, we're gonna spar hard. We go run, we're gonna run hard. You do everything hard. That's why you got a good tank. That's how.
I think also like knowing that I have a gas tank, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna push the pace. Pace.
Yeah.
So like, I know I got it. So I spend it, and then, you know, I guess
Camaro spoke to that, you know, like building his tank and just pushing him. He realized that he had a good tank, and he said exactly what you said. So every time I knew I had a good tank, I was gonna go till my tank ran out, and then I'm gonna push it just a little bit past that, you know. So yeah, I wouldn't know anything about that, guys, but
it's like the only it's like the only blessing athletically that God gave me. So I'm not the fastest guy. I'm not tall and long.
But I'll take. Listen. I'll take the tank over anything.
Yeah.
I'll take the tank over anything.
It's true.
In life,
In
life. Come on, you've been through it now, man. You've been beaten down. The fucking tank keeps you going.
That's it,
Roger wants sugar in his tank.
Yeah, I'm tough and I got a gas tank, and that's what's gotten me.
That's a deadly combination, bro. A deadly combination.
What we'll let you go here soon, but what do you miss about the East Coast? You know, I've been an East Coast guy my whole life. I mean, I know you're still on the East Coast, the Northeast. I know you're still on the East Coast. You're in Florida, but what do you miss about Queens? I mean,
pizza, bagels,
you got to miss the pizza, man. It can't be as good in Florida. No way.
Pizza, bagels, food in general. Queens is like the melting pot. So we have I would walk up the block and I would have every restaurant on my corner. So that's like definitely up there. And obviously just chilling with my friends. I grew up there, so it's just every time I go up there, it's like reminiscing, man. I'm like, Queens, and there's nothing like home, but I can't live there anymore, man. It's just when I was a kid, it was way different. Now we got, not to get too political, all the liberals and we got all these people ruining the city. The city turned to shit.
Yeah.
And like, it's almost like nothing will ever be New York, but I don't ever have to live there anymore.
Yeah,
I had enough. I mean, I lived there for 27 years. Like,
right.
I've moved on.
We only live an hour away, and I know Frankie's from here. I'm from Maine. I didn't move here until I was 22, but I used to get really excited. Like if I knew I was going into the city, I'd get excited. I avoid the city as much as I possibly can. I have no desire to ever go in there again. It's changed so much from when I moved here 24 years ago. I despise it. I don't want any part of it.
No, I'll go if I'm without my family. I don't want to bring my family there. If I'm solo, I'll go have some fun up there. That's about it.
Yeah, every time I'm there, I'm like looking over my shoulder.
Yeah. Bro, especially in the subway now, see people getting pushed onto the tracks. I'm like putting my back against the wall. Man, I
haven't been on a subway since I left, and I don't think I'll ever. I was there in August for like 3 weeks. And I was like, I ain't going on. People were like, let's meet me at the train. I was like, I'm not taking fucking get on the train again. I took that train to school for years. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done with it. Yeah.
Jared, bro, thank you, man. This was awesome to have you down. And if you do make a trip to Queens and you want to come come in studio, we'd love to have you. Obviously. Obviously, like I said, we've been going back a long time. If I come to Florida, I have to come get in touch with you out there too.
Yeah, come on
get
down.
Some grappling in. I'm not getting hit in the face no more. Maybe some grappling and stuff.
Come wrestle, man. Show us some wrestling.
Yeah, definitely. Where can everybody hit you up, or where you help people, or your social media? Let the people know.
Yeah, Instagram Jared Flash Gordon, Twitter J Flash Gordon MMA. I got my website jaredflashgordon.com. You could email the website or leave an inquiry there, and that's it.
Awesome.
Jared, pleasure, man. Thank you so much for coming on. It was good to finally meet you, and thanks for giving us the time and allowing us to ask you some questions, man. I appreciate you, and definitely a fan over here. So
yeah, bro,
thanks,
definitely keep crushing it, man. In and out of the cage, you're doing wonders for a lot of people, and yourself included. So wish you the best, brother.
All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. Happy holidays.
You too, brother. Amen.
Happy holidays.
Stay blessed. What's up, guys? Don't forget to follow us, Champ the Tramp. You can find us pretty much on all the formats out there. Instagram, we're there. We're on Rumble now. That's the one we want you guys to follow us on. Check us out on Rumble. We'd like to build our followers over there a little bit. We're on TikTok even. What else are we on,
YouTube,
Frankie?
YouTube. Subscribe, too. Hit that subscribe button, man.
That helps us out, man. Helps out the channel.
Sure.